welcome you all to this session. So in the previous session we had started with a new chapter called as natural resources. As everyone know, natural resources are the resources available in nature, you can say, or the resources which are available for humankind or mankind naturally are called natural resources. Under natural resources we had seen there are two types of natural resources: renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable are the one which can be regenerated or can reuse. Those resources are called renewable resources like air, water. Next, non-renewable resources are the one which cannot be regenerated, means they have to be utilized with very limited conditions. So they are called as non-renewable resources, means they are present in the nature until you are using it. Okay, until how long can use it? Until they are present in the nature. Once the resources are finished or over, then you cannot regenerate them. So we have to use non-renewable resources in a very limited and proper manner. Okay, we have also seen soil erosion. So soil erosion is the loss of topmost layer of the soil is called soil erosion. We have seen water erosion also. Then we have seen desertification. Desertification means degradation of the ecosystem is called desertification. It occurs due to human activities who utilize the natural resources to satisfy the domestic conditions, or like urbanization, industrialization, or you can say for agriculture, etc. So most of the land, and we have seen the land resource also. So land resource is one of the most important and valuable natural resource present on this ecosystem or present in the atmosphere. Which one? Land resources. It is one of the most important and valuable natural resource. And we had seen the usage of land usage in India. We had seen different percentage, like how much of land is used for agriculture, how much of land is under forest, how much of land is non-agricultural land, like used for roads, making roads, dams, railways, industries, housing, etc. And how much of land is barren. Barren means the land which is of no use, or you can say not suitable for cultivation, is called as barren land. And we have seen some of the other areas like meadows, where small species or some species of grasses is growing there. We call it as meadows. Okay. Now what are the reasons or causes for soil erosion? We see now causes for soil erosion. So, meaning of soil erosion. It is the loss of topmost layer of the soil is called soil erosion. Means, now what are the reasons for soil erosion? We had seen like heavy rainfall, you can say. If there is heavy rainfall or the heavy wind is blowing, then suddenly that the topmost layer of soil is carried away by the wind. Right. Then heavy rainfall, you can say, heavy wind, you can say, intensity of the velocity of wind is high, then that wind carries away the topmost layer. And as you know, the topmost layer up to 10 to 15 centimeters is only good or available, that is for the growth of plants and some animals also. Animals also grow in soil like earthworms. So the topmost layer is the most fertile soil used for growth of plants and animals. If that layer is carried away, then there is called soil erosion. Now what is the causes for soil erosion? Number one is deforestation. Number one, deforestation. Deforestation, it is the cutting down of trees, you can say, or the growth of the population and the need for human demands. They are cutting down the trees and the forest is being made barren completely. They are called as deforestation. Now what is the main cause of deforestation? That is the human population, increase in the population. Increase in population. So as I told in previous session, the most important cause of all these activities is mainly due to human consumption, human activities only, you can say, because of the increasing population. As a country's population is increasing, the demand increases for everything like food, shelter, accommodation. Every demand increases. There is a demand for everything, especially food. shelter or accommodation, you can say. So to meet those demands, to meet the demands of increasing population, people are going for deforestation, cutting down the trees, because they have to build more, construct more houses for survival of human beings. Okay. Then upper layer of soil is essential for productivity, vegetation, habitat, and the topmost layer of soil. Now we will see the main cause is deforestation, but due to deforestation the loss of topmost soil is there. There is a loss of topmost layer of soil. Topmost layer of soil, which is very essential for growth of plants, vegetation, productivity, for housing, mining, etc. This leads to soil erosion and the fertile land becomes completely affected. So fertile land, which is necessary for growth of plants and animals, is completely affected. So soil erosion is the most important, you can say. That is the main thing which is affecting the growth of plants and animals. That is due to deforestation. Okay. Next, coming to salinization, flood. Now you know there is flood. ಪ್ರವಾಹ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವಾಹ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆವಾಗ ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಫಲವತ್ತತೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆಸ್ ಎ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಫ್ಲಡ್ಸ್, ವಾಟರ್ ಲಾಗಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟರ್ salinization, the salinity of water also decreases. Next, coming to overgrazing of animals. Overgrazing of animals. Now animals, they are grazing like cattle, sheep, goats, etc. They are domestic animals which are heavily grazed the grassland. Now you know the grasses, they are grown in meadows, etc. Small herbs are growing. If continuously these animals are left for grazing, what about the grass? It will be available for the next generation. If continuous this process takes place, then heavily graze the grassland and forest becomes denuded. Forest will be denuded, means completely the forest will be empty, and it is called as denuded the area. That area will be completely, land will be empty or barren, you can say. Means heavily grazing, overgrazing. Over means the more quantity of grass is being utilized by the domestic animals, the cattle, cow, sheep, etc. If there is continuous grazing by, or can say overgrazing, then what happens? The grassland, completely the grass becomes decreased, and further there will not be grass for any domestic animals. Okay, that is called as denuding the area. Okay. Overgrazing of the animals due to sun's heat. Now if there is temperature is high, there is no rainfall, high temperature is there, evaporation rate is high, then it causes flood. So that completely, that land becomes completely barren. What about the productivity? The productivity also decreases. Next, and which further prevents into desertification. That land again further converts into desert, means it is not suitable for any growth of any plant and animal. Okay. Next and third is mining and quarrying. Third is mining. Mining means ಗಣಿಗಾರಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, ಗಣಿಗಾರಿಕೆ. Extraction of minerals. So have created imbalance in semi-arid and arid regions. They have also created imbalance. If continuously there is mining in those activities in the land, on the land, what happens about the plant and animals? So for mining purpose, they cut down the trees first, then they go for digging the earth. So again here plants species are being decreased. Throughout the globe, if there are some semi-arid and arid regions, the land also is becoming completely barren. So there are some countries like Sub-Sahara Africa, Middle East, West Africa, South America, USA are all suffering from these conditions like mining, overgrazing, etc. Next, coming to river valley projects and dam construction. River valley projects and dam construction. River valley projects. Now so many projects have been there like Narmada River Valley and Sardar Dam construction. Which river? Narmada River Valley. Narmada River Valley and Sardar Dam construction. Sardar Dam construction. These two are the projects under river valley projects and dam construction, causing rehabilitation problems for tribals and localities. So dear students, you know, tribal people, they usually live in forest. Now if that forest is converted into a barren land or open land, or you can say constructed dams are constructed there, or in river valley is constructed, what about their livelihood? Where those people will stay, right? So tribal people usually they live in forest. They live in forest and they are depending on the surroundings or whatever available in the forest. They are depending on those things. If that thing is destroyed, then how will those tribals people or tribal people survive? So it is affecting, causing rehabilitation problems for tribals and their localities. So this is affecting tribals or tribal localities. Tribal localities are completely affected by these rehabilitation. You can say the rehabilitation is caused in these tribal people. So this is about the river valley projects and dam construction. Next one, deforestation. Next we'll go for deforestation. You already seen deforestation. Destruction of natural forest by humans. We already discussed what happens there. Destruction of natural forest by humans. And India's forest, it has reduced from 1.4 lakh hectares to 23,000 hectares is remaining. See, it was earlier 1.4 lakh hectares and now it has reduced to only 23,000 hectares. Just if you estimate, 1.4 lakh hectares has reduced to 23,000 hectares only since 1981. This is a record or just estimate you can say. So you can see how much of a forest land has been converted into a land which is used for urbanization, you can say industrialization, construction of so many industries, mining, desertification. They're all totally, it is reduced to 23,000 hectares. So 1.4 lakh hectares area has been reduced to only 23,000 hectares, right? And 14 million lost. 14 million of is lost species. 14 million is lost since 1975, from 1975 to 1982, and annual rate of deforestation of India is 1.6%. Annual rate of deforestation means, and this estimate number you can say. So annually how much of land is being degraded into a barren land you can say, or deforestation. So many trees are being cutting down for the purpose of urbanization, industrialization, etc. Reasons are again dam construction, you know, dam construction, mining, paper and pulp industry. Reasons are dams, mining, paper and pulp industry, paper and pulp industry. So for all this construction of these industries, construction of road, transportation, communication, electricity, railways, etc. Constructions of roads, railway lines, communication, or some recent you can say connections are given, electricity connection is given, canals or channels have been connected. So many, due to so many reasons, our land is being utilized and trees are being cutting down. That is called deforestation. Okay, next going to some other reasons are the reasons for this are as follows. River valley project. One is river valley project, dam construction. Next is forest land diversion. Now see students, forest land diversion means now this is a huge forest is there, right? And in that some part in the trees are completely cutting down and that land is used for small projects you can say like mining. Some land is used for paper and pulp industry, some is used for transportation, roads are made. So this is how the deforestation is done. Overgrazing by localities, overgrazing. So people living, tribal people living in the nearby areas, they are going for overgrazing. Grazing of animals more and more. So what happens? The trees, plants, herbs are not remaining in those areas, leading to deforestation. Search for oil, mining and extraction. As I already told you, mining and extraction of minerals from their ores. The earth is being dig the earth, they have to cut down the trees. Next, use of forest land by localities for the domestic use as agriculture. See, now large trees are destroyed, trees are being cut and the land is made empty and they are using for agriculture. Commercial extraction by state agencies. The commercial extraction is being done. Then coming to natural calamities. Other than this, these are all man-made. Yes, deforestation, these are all man-made. Now what about natural calamities? If naturally any calamities are occurring, that also leads to deforestation or desertification. So natural calamities and fire are reasons for deforestation. If there is any forest fire naturally, you have seen in the recently in news also, in Australia or in different countries, there was forest fire. ಬೆಂಕಿ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಕಾಡಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಬೆಂಕಿ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅವಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಗಿಡಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ನಾಶ ಆಗೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಡಿಫಾರೆಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ ವಿದೌಟ್ ಎನಿ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಕೈಂಡ್. there is, due to some natural calamities also, deforestation occurs. Okay, next we'll go to over exploitation. Next one, over exploitation. What do you mean by the term overexploitation? Overexploitation means more and more those resources are being exploited or used. More and more those resources are being used or utilized. It is called overexploitation. There is hardly 12% thick forest is remaining, which indicates that resource exploitation compared to 30%. 30% of resources remaining and the 12% is already overly exploited. Overexploitation is beyond the tolerable limit. Over, meaning of over means ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತ, ಅಂದರೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಮೇಲೆ continuously if there is grazing, completely continuously there is any exploiting, grazing, then what happens? The land becomes completely barren. So beyond the tolerable limit, mainly to timber extraction or commercial purposes, bamboo, paper. Now paper industry means they require wood, right? Wood pulp bekagutte for manufacturing paper. Now they are continuously manufacturing paper, continuously require wood pulp. Then over exploitation, they are using more and more number of trees for housing, transportation, for roads, for making railway bridges. Continuously the land is being used and the forest trees are being cutting down. So for fast development, ಅವ್ರ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ಕಡಿತಾರೆ, ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಪೇಪರ್ದು, ಓವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಟೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರೀಸನ್. ಓವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಿನರಲ್ಸ್, even minerals also, they are exploited more and more. What happens? The resources become limited. Over exploitation of minerals, ಖನಿಜಗಳು, they are extracted from the earth's crust. Mining, you can see. So mining are extracted, minerals are extracted from two types. One is open cast or other one is from the earth's crust. From the earth's crust the minerals are being extracted. Now again and again over and over exploitation is taking place, like drilling from the rocks, extracting gold, aluminum, copper, silver, aluminum, etc. That depend on the nature of deposits. And minerals are very very essential for the human mankind. ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಖನಿಜಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಉಪಯೋಗವಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ನಮ್ಮ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ, ಡೈಲಿ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ we are very very depending on minerals. But if it is over exploited, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ continuously if it is being exploited, then that leads to the resources becomes limited. ಓಕೆ, ಓವರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂತ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದಲ್ವಾ, ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಓವರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆದರೆ ಆ ಖನಿಜಗಳೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, they completely become empty and there will not be any remaining for the next generation. Mineral resources are used to produce, distribute electricity. Some of the minerals are non-renewable. ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, non-renewable ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ ರಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ನಾನ್ ರಿನ್ಯೂವೇಬಲ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್. ಅಂಥ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ನ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಕಡಿಮೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಓವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ನಾನ್ ರಿನ್ಯೂವೇಬಲ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೋರ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ, ದೆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್. ಇನ್ನು ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ವರ್ಷಗಳು ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಪೀಳಿಗೆಗೆ ಆ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಓವರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಟ್. ಓವರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಓವರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ಇನ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ way. So this is about the over exploitation of minerals. Over exploitation means using that in more and more quantity, you can say. So if they are exploited in more quantity or over, you can say overuse or more than the limit or intolerable limit, then that resource will not be available for the next generation. Okay. See, the overexploitation has already led to deforestation and biodiversity loss in many parts of the world, in many countries, you can say. So deforestation, you know, biodiversity. Biodiversity is the variety of all forms of life. There are different types of animals in our surroundings, different types of plants are there, and all are depending on each other for their survival. If they exploit in more and more quantity, more and more number, then it will not be remaining for the next generation. So the unscientific mining has created environmental hazards or environmental issues, you can say. You studied in P.Sc, a chapter called as environmental issues. Issues means what? The problems our environment is facing due to anthropological activities, you can say, or human activities. So environmental hazards in Kudremukh National Park, which is in Western Ghat, Kudremukh National Park, it is facing environmental hazard, a global biodiversity hotspot. It has become a biodiversity hotspot. Means there the number of species or they are becoming endangered, or the species which are not found anywhere else, means the number of species is becoming less day by day. Okay. Environmental impacts of mining extraction. Now we know renewable resources. Now you know natural, that is renewable and non-renewable resources. Both are there. So land degradation, that is due to soil fertility, loss of soil fertility, there is no chance of growth of plants in that area. Pollution is the most common phenomenon in mining region. Mining region alli enagutte pollution, parisara malinya, because they are digging from the earth crust drilling ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. What happens? A lot of dust is generated. That leads to pollution in the environment. The neighboring agriculture land receives adverse impact on because of mining operation. Now see, now there is one complete big land is there. Now in one particular land they are digging the minerals, and another land they are creating agriculture. Now from that mining area lot of dust is produced, right? Lot of gases, harmful gases are being generated for due to heat. What happens? That affects the growth of this agriculture or plants, small plants, you can say. Because of drilling, mining, quarrying, and lot of noise is also generated from the mining area. So mining is adversely affecting our land or environment, you can say. Yes, it is the most important environmental issue or hazard, you can say. As in mineral extraction, lots of noise is being generated, noise pollution due to drilling. I told you there is drilling of the earth's crust, or some big machines are being used to drill to extract the minerals from the ore. So due to drilling, lot of noise is generated, that leads to noise pollution. Of both surface and groundwater is affected. Water pollution also takes place. Now you know, if you dig the earth till the ground level, then there is groundwater in the earth's crust, that leads to water pollution. The dust is mixed with the groundwater, that leads to groundwater pollution, and both surface water and groundwater is affected by mining activities. Okay. Other than this, mining operation has created occupational hazards also. This is very important, students. Now you know, we have studied respiration chapter in your first PUC, that is breathing. You know that we are not discussing here. Occupational hazards means the people who are working in those places like mining. ಜನ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಸಮ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಟರಿ ಡಿಸಾರ್ಡರ್ಸ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ, ಬೈ ಸಮ್ ಹಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಸೆಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ, ಆರ್ ಸಮ್ ಬ್ರೀದಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ. ಸೊ and occupational hazards means occupational disorders, means we are getting some disorders at our place of working, at the place of working. Those people are acquiring so many diseases, but because there is no other option, they for livelihood they are working there, but they have to take some precautions to prevent from those hazards or occupational hazards. Occupation means the place of work. ಅದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ, if they are working in mining industry, they get a lot of dust, respiratory disorders due to which they feel difficulty in breathing. ಅಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ಮೆನಿ ಡಿಸಾರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಯುಪೇಷನಲ್ ಹಜಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ಆಕ್ಯುಪೇಷನ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಕೆಲಸ, ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಉದ್ಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಅದರ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್, ದೇ ಟೇಕ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಕಾಷನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆನ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್, ವಿಲ್ ಸಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ನೌ. You heard about dam? What is the use of construction of dams? Dams ಯಾಕೆ ಕಟ್ತಾರೆ ಹೇಳಿ? So dams are used mainly for storing of rainwater or watershed management or rainwater management. You can say that is used for storing the water, because during summer season there is scarcity of water. ನೀರಿನ ಸಂಗ್ರಹಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. ನೀರಿನ ಸಂಗ್ರಹಣೆ ಮಾಡೋ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆಣೆಕಟ್ಟು ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ನ ಕಟ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅದರದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಮೇಲೆ. ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ಕಡಿತಾರೆ, ಆ ಜಾಗ ಬೇಕಲ್ವ ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಕಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡೌನ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಕಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಡೌನ್ ದ ಟ್ರೀಸ್, ಡಿಫಾರೆಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಎಟ್ಸೆಟ್ರಾ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಟು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಅದೊಂದು ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದದ್ದು. ಯಾವುದು? ಆಣೆಕಟ್ಟು, ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಎಕನಾಮಿಕಲಿ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಎಕನಾಮಿಕಲಿ, ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿಯೂ ಭಾಳ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಇದೆ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ದು. ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಿಸಿಟ್ ತುಂಗಭದ್ರಾ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್, ಮೆನಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಕಮ್ ದೇರ್ ಟು ವಿಸಿಟ್ ದ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್. ನೀರನ್ನು ನೋಡೋಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ತುಂಬ ದೃಶ್ಯ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ನೋಡೋಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್, ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಟು ಇರಿಗೇಷನ್, ನೀರಾವರಿಗೆ ಯೋಜನೆಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ನೀರಾವರಿಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ದ ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಪೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಟು ನಿಯರ್ ಬೈ fields, you can say, for agriculture. Industrial electricity generation is very important. As you all know, water is very very essential for generation of electricity consumption. 30 to 50% of water is being utilized for irrigation. How much percent? 30 to 50% of water is used for irrigation, and even 19% for electric power. In India, 4,291 dams are built. How many? 4,291 dams are built in till 2004. It's just number you can say, but estimate you can see just how many dams have been built in our country. With the expansion, it is around 4,800 today. ಇವತ್ತಿನವರೆಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಣೆಕಟ್ಟು ಎಷ್ಟಿದ್ದಾವೆ? 4,800. What are the benefits of dam? Benefits of dams are multiple. Benefits, as I told you, it is used for storing water, you can say, or for generating electricity. If water is there, then it can be used for generating electricity. Now we'll see one by one. It provides water for agriculture. Yes, so students, you know, water is very very essential for ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಕೃಷಿ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಏನು ಬೇಕು, ನಮಗೆ ನೀರು ಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ಬೇಸಿಗೆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನೀರಿನ ಅಭಾವ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಅವಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾವು ಡ್ಯಾಮಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿಡಿದಾಗ ಆ ನೀರನ್ನು ನಾವು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೋದು, ಹೊಲಗಡೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ವಾಟರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಫುಡ್. ಅದೇ ಹೊಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದರಿಂದ ಬೆಳೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಬೆಳೆಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಅನ್ನ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಫುಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ಸ್. It produces electricity and supply to industry. Yes, one more important thing. One is we get food from water, or the water is given to the field or agriculture. Second, electricity. Now we are all dependent on electricity. Nowadays, ಈ ಮನೇಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ವಸ್ತು ತಗೋರಿ, it all works on electricity. We are all depending on electricity. ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೂಡ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹೋದರೆ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದೀಗ ಅಂತ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ we are all dependent mainly on electricity nowadays. Next, provides drinking water. See student, very important is, you know, water is called as liquid of life. Like water is very very essential for drinking, for the domestic purposes. So drinking water also can be used. So ನಮಗೆ ನೀರು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಗಭದ್ರಾ ಡ್ಯಾಮಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Which dam? ತುಂಗಭದ್ರಾ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್. So that is used for drinking. It promotes ecological development, fishing, boating, animal husbandry. Fishing, as you know, fish are aquatic animals. If there is water, then there is growth of lot of aquatic animals in that water. It controls flood and protect life and property. Nodi, if that rainfall or the rainwater is being harvested or dams are constructed to store the water, that water will be stored in a particular dam. It is not flowing. If that would be flowing, then it would lead to flood. ಪ್ರವಾಹ ಬರ್ಬೋದಲ್ವ. ಅಷ್ಟು ನೀರನ್ನು ಈಗ ನಾವು ಸಂಗ್ರಹ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಸಂಗ್ರಹ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹರಿತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಓವರ್ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಫ್ಲಡ್. ಪ್ರವಾಹ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಮನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ನುಗ್ಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟೆಡ್, ಪ್ರವಾಹನ ತಡೆಯಬಹುದು. ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಏನೋ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ಆ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮನೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ನೀರು ನುಗ್ಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಮನೆಗಳ ಬಿದ್ದೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಡ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಹೌಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್, ಹಳೆ ಮನೆಗಳಿರ್ತಾವೆ, ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿದ್ದೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದರ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ದೆನ್ ದರ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದರ್ ಈಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ of water can be prevented and that water force also can be stopped. Lastly, it helps in promoting good atmosphere, cold in summer and hot in winter weather. Now you know, during summer ಬೇಸಿಗೆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ನೀರು, ವೆದರ್ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ತುಂಬ ಬಿಸಿಲಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಆವಾಗ ನಮಗೇನು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಿ ಫೀಲ್ ಸಮ್ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್. ಇಫ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ವಾಟರ್ ದೆನ್ ದ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರೈ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಫೀಲ್ ಮೋರ್ ಹಾಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಗುಡ್ ಅಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಫಿಯರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನೇಚರ್. ಓಕೆ, now what are the problems? Now we have seen the importance of dam, benefits of dam. Now we'll see problems of dam. Till now we have seen the importance, alva. Dams are very very essential. Now is there any problem with dams? ನೀವು ಅನ್ಕೋಬೋದು, ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಯೂಸಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀವಲ್ವ, ನಾವು ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಈಗ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆಯಾ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ದು? ಎಸ್, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದೇ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ದೋಸ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಲಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲಿಟಿ, ಫರ್ಟೈಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಸಿ, ಫರ್ಟೈಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಮಣ್ಣಿನ ಫಲವತ್ತತೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲಿಟಿ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್. Forests dislodge natural habitat which leads to migration. See, if the animals, now you know all animals are not living in a particular area, they live in different areas. If that area is of forest is being destroyed, then that animals cannot survive. So there is migration also. Displacement of people, tribal problem. Again see students, very important is ಕಾಡು ಜನಗಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಏನೋ ಕಾಡು ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ದೇ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ಸ್. ಕಾಡು ಜನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರು ಕಾಡಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ವಾಸಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ವಿಗಿನ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ದೇ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ನಾವು ಇಫ್ ದಟ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಿಂಗ್ ಕಟಿಂಗ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆರ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ಆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಡಿದು ಅಲ್ಲೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ನ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಣೆಕಟ್ಟನ್ನು ಕಟ್ತಾರೆ. ಆವಾಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಅವ್ರೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಫಾರ್ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. It alters river flow, changes nature flood control mechanism. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ನೀರು, ನದಿ ನೀರು ಹರಿತಾನೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ರಿವರ್ ಫ್ಲೋ. ರಿವರ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹೋಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಟು ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್, ದಟ್ ಅಲ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ದ ರಿವರ್ ಫ್ಲೋಸ್. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ದ ಬ್ರೇಕಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ರಿವರ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ದಟ್ dams are used to store the water, to protect our property, to protect our human life. ಪ್ರವಾಹದ ತಡಿಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಸಮ್ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ ಆ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ನೀರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಗ್ರಹಣ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೀಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್, ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್. ನಾವು ಈಗ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಒಡೆದೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಸಡನ್ ದ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಫ್ಲೋಸ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಸಿಟೀಸ್, ಟೌನ್ಸ್, ಹೌಸಸ್. ಇಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ಸ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್, ತುಂಬ ನಾಶ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಡಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಹರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಏನು ಅನ್ಸಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್, ತುಂಬ ನೀರು ಸಂಗ್ರಹಣೆ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಸಡನ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಸಮ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಕೆಲಾಮಿಟಿ, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣದಿಂದ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಒಡೆದೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಆ ಸಂಗ್ರಹಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ನೀರು ತುಂಬ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಗೋಸ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಸಿಟೀಸ್, ಊರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದುಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ನದಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಮನೆಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ನೀರು ಬಂದುಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಬಂದುಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಲಾಸ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ಆಸ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿ, ಮನೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೀರು ಬಂದುಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಬೆಳೆ ಹಾಗೂ ನಾಶ ಆಗಿಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. That is one of the most problems of dams. Okay, smaller dam. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು? ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನಿ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ. The expenditure of constructing dams is minimum and the less damage to natural localities and environment. It may lessen the water conflicts between state and nations. See, ಅಂದರೆ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಮನಿ, ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಗುಡ್ ಇನ್ ಬೋತ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ನೇಷನ್. ಅದು ಆರ್ಥಿಕತೆ ನೋಡಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ಸನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಕ್ರೈಸಿಸ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ಆಸ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ biodiversity and tribal people. Again we are coming to tribal people now. Biodiversity and ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆರ್ ಮೋರ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್. ದೇ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಫುಡ್ ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಕಾಡು ಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬ ಇವರೇನಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವಲಂಬಿತರಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್, ದೇ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ದೇ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ದೇ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಲಿವ್ ಇನ್ ಸಿಟೀಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟೌನ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ದ ಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಶೆಲ್ಟರ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಹಾರ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಏನಾದರೂ ಹೂವು ಹಣ್ಣು ಹಂಪಲ ಏನೋ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರು ಜೀವನ ನಡೆಸ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇ ಸೆಟಲ್ ಸಚ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ದೇರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟಿಂಕ್ಟ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್, ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್, ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬಿಲೀಫ್. ನೀವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಅದು ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದರೂ ರೀಸನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಮೇ ಸಮ್ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್, ಕಸ್ಟಮ್, ಕಲ್ಚರ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ನಾಟ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸಿಟೀಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟೌನ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ನೇಚರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ದೇ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ವುಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕುಕ್ಕಿಂಗ್. ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕಥೆಗಳು ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಜನ ಎಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಕಾಡಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಿದ್ರು, ಕಾಡಲ್ಲಿ ಮರ ಗಿಡ ಸಿಕ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದೇ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ವುಡ್, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವುಡ್ಡೆಲ್ಲ ಹಚ್ಚಿ ಫೈರ್ ಹಚ್ಚಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಈಟಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ಸ್, ಫಿಶಸ್, ಏಟ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ಜಂಗಲ್. ಕಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು ಸಿಕ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳು ಸಿಕ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಹಣ್ಣು ಸಿಕ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಅದರಿಂದನೇ ಏನಾದರೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿ ಆಹಾರನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು ಅವರು. ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಏಜ್, ದೆನ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೆಲವು ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ದೇರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲೈಸೇಷನ್, ನಗರೀಕರಣ, ಅರ್ಬನೈಸೇಷನ್. ದೆನ್ ಸ್ಲೋಲಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಸಿಟೀಸ್, ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು, ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಿಚಾರದಿಂದ ತಿಳ್ಕೊತಾ ಬಂದರು. ವಿಚ್ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಜುಲಿ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ದ ವಲ್ನೇಬಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೋರಾ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೋನಾ. ಅವು ತುಂಬ ಗಿಡಗಳಿದ್ದು ಮರಗಳಿದ್ದು, ಬರ್ತಾ 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 ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಡಿಫಾರೆಸ್ಟೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೋರಾ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೋನಾ, ಫ್ಲೋರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್, ಫೋನಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್. ಬೋತ್ ದ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬಿಂಗ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ industrialization, economic development, urbanization, etc. Then British regime commenced the utilization of forest. Then British ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, British people. These British people, they started all these things like urbanization, globalization, then constructing of so many industries. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು? All these British people only. Construction of road, railway lines, dams. Soon after independence, government launched certain projects to prevent the loss of forest or cutting down the forest. This affected some zones like Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Uttar Karnataka, Mysore district of Karnataka. Andre government of India, what did it did for the protection of these forests? ಇವು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಡುಗಳು, ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು, ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳು, ಗಿಡಗಳು, ಮರಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಉಳಿಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಡು ಉಳಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ನಿಯಮಗಳು ತಯಾರಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಲೈಕ್ ಸಮ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿನ್ ಮೇಡ್. ಇಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಕಟಿಂಗ್ ಡೌನ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್, ದೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪೇ ಸಮ್ ಫೈನ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕಿಲ್ ಎನಿ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ ಬೈ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ intentionally, then you will have to answer to the government or police. You can say why you have cut down the trees, why certain laws are there, you get some punishment. You can say punishment you will get for cutting down the trees, forest, or killing the animals. So there are so many places like Wildlife Protection Act, Environmental Pollution Act, Save Tiger projects are being done or made by Government of India to protect our natural resources or animals and plants, you can say flora and fauna, because people are mainly affecting these flora and fauna for their purpose. ತಮ್ಮ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು? ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳನ್ನು, ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು, ಮರಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯ್ಡ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಯು ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ರಿಚ್ ಇನ್ ಬಯೋಡೈವರ್ಸಿಟಿ. ತುಂಬ ವಿವಿಧತೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಮೇಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಿನ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಬೈ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟೈಗರ್, ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್, ನರ್ಮದಾ ಸಾಗರ್, ಸರ್ದಾರ್ ಸರೋವರ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್, ಬೆಡ್ತಿ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಉತ್ತರ ಕನ್ನಡ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್, ಸಿದ್ದಿ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ಸ್. Tribals do not have distinct culture, belief, myths. They observe their own festivals which affect the forest. ಅಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಪ್ರತಿ ಇದೇ ಹಬ್ಬ ಅಂತಿರಲ್ಲ, right? So they celebrate the festivals which are related to the trees and forest. ಗಿಡಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹಬ್ಬ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರು ತಮ್ಮ ಓನ್ ಕಲ್ಚರೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಹಬ್ಬ ಅದನ್ನು ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಲೈಕ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ಸ್. ಈವನ್ ಟುಡೇ ದ ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರೈಬಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸೆಟಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ರಿಹ್ಯಾಬಿಲಿಟೇಷನ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟು ಅಥವಾ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ತುಂಬ ಅವಕಾಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು? ಅವ್ರು ತಮ್ಮ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ನೇ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು. ದೆ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. So Narmada Sarovar Dam project have been constructed. So many projects have been made in India to save our forest, trees, or you can say our biodiversity. So this is all about the chapter called as natural resources under soil erosion. We are seeing what is the soil erosion, deforestation, causes of deforestation. Then we have seen the importance of dams as well as the benefits of dam as well as benefits or disadvantages of dams, and biodiversity and tribal people, how these tribals or tribal people are affected by this desertification or deforestation, because they are mainly living in the forest. Al Nashama Bitre, how these people will survive, we have seen now. Okay, so this is all about the today's topic about soil erosion, causes, overexploitation, deforestation, overgrazing of animals, mining and activities, river valley projects and dam construction. So in next class we will discuss about groundwater utilization, about water, overexploitation and surface of groundwater and the water resources. Thank you.